Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. We are from group 3. We're gonna do a presentation about reference word. Before start, I am going to introduce our member, which is Nurin Batrisha binti Abdul Malik. Her metric number is 079910. Naili Ulia binti Muhammad Shafi'i 080177, and the last one is Wanur Fatima Idrina binti Yusri. Her metric number is 080146.
Hello, my name is Naili Ulia binti Muhammad Shafi'i and my matrix numbers is 080177. Now, I'm gonna talk about reference word. So, what is a reference word? Reference word is a word or phrase that are used to replace a word or phrase to avoid repetition. In a simple meaning, it is something that refers to a word that already mentioned before but using shorter word. There are two types of reference word and my friends will explain it.
Now, I will be talking about reference words and their different types. Reference words help us avoid repetition in sentences by referring back or forward to other words. There are two main types. First is anaphoric reference, which means this occurs when a word refers back to something mentioned earlier in the sentence. Second, cataphoric reference. This happens when a word refers forward to something that will be mentioned later in the sentence. These types of reference help create cohesion in writing and speaking, making communication smoother and more natural.
As my friend said, there are two types of reference word, which are anaphoric and cataphoric. So, I will give example for each type. First example for anaphoric. Lisa loves painting. She spent hours creating beautiful artwork. In this context, she refers back to Lisa. Second example for cataphoric. Although he was tired, John continued working late into the night. In this context, he refers forward to John.
Now, let's look at the
Specific
categories
words
of reference
refer
words.
to a particular
There are
items
several
or
ways we can
individual cases.
categorize
For
them,
example,
including noun
this,
omissions,
that, those,
repeated
and so
action
on.
words,
You can
relative
see
pronouns,
the example of
pronouns,
the
and last
sentence
but not least,
on the
specific
slide,
words. Each of
which
these
is, look
categories
at that
will be
beautiful flower
explained
in the
after
garden.
the slide
It's so
later.
bright and colorful. I wish I could have one just like it in my home.
Now let's take a look for pronouns. Pronouns is a word that can function as a noun phrase used by itself, and that refers either to the participant in the discourse or to someone or something that mentioned in the discourse. For example, Sarah is going to sit for final exam in 1 month, so she studied hard to get good marks. In this context, Sarah is the main word and she refers back to Sarah.
For relative pronouns, it is used to introduce a relative clause, a clause that gives further information about the preceding noun or noun phrase. For example, which, who, whose, where, and so on. So, for the example, is the woman who is standing over there is my teacher.
Repeated action words are used when to say something is done again or in a similar way without repeating the whole actions. As we can see here, there are the words that are used for repeated action words. Likewise, mean in the same way. Later refers to the second of the two things mentioned. Meanwhile, former refers to the first of two things mentioned. For example, there are two desserts, cake and ice cream. I prefer the latter, means I prefer ice cream.
I will explain the difference between the words former and later and how to use them correctly. First, former refers to something that is first in the order of two or more things mentioned. Second, later refers to something that is second in a group of two things or last in a group of several things. Now, let's look at some examples. Here an example using on former. I have a cat and a dog. The former love to sleep all day. Explanation. Former refers to the first item mentioned, which is the cat. This means the cat loves to sleep all day. Next, example using on later. I enjoy reading books and watching movies. The later helps me relax after a long day. Explanation: later refers to the last item mentioned, which is watching movies. This means watching movie help me relax after a long day.
So the last one is noun omissions. As you can see, noun omissions is something that has been omitted or neglected. For example, some and few. You can see the sentence which is she has a few friends in this town.
That concludes our presentation on reference words. We hope everything we share is clear and easy to understand. Thank you for listening and Assalamu alaikum.